Hello everyone and welcome to the Chef's Table series. My name is Carol O'Connor, co-host, and we are celebrating Tailgating Cooking Demo. Today we have Fred Zagami. He is the owner of Salem Food Market, and he's going to be making his favorite tailgating foods. He'll be making buffalo chicken dip, baked chicken wings, pulled pork, and a 2.5-foot sub. Later on, I'll be with Kelsey Roth, and we'll be doing a beer pairing to go with all these amazing dishes. So let's bring Fred and Joe over to learn how to make these football favorites.
Hi, I'm Chef Joe Murphy, co-host of the Chef's Table series. The Chef's Table series is produced by the Chef's Table Foundation. We're a public nonprofit, and our mission using this show is to bring awareness to two segments of the homeless population. Homeless U.S. veterans, in this state there are 1,000 of them, and homeless young adults, underprivileged. 2013, the state of Massachusetts did a study, and believe it or not, which bothers me as a parent, they documented 6,000 homeless teens in this state. And Carol O'Connor, co-host, and I talked to another organization, Bridge Over Troubled Waters, and they said it's 3 times that, which I kind of had a gut about that because, you know, every once in a while you'll watch a documentary and they say that these kids are underground. So to me, that's a horrendous situation, and I'm sure to you, the viewer. So we have great people. The food industry people are wonderful people, and today we have chef owner Fred Zagami from Salem Deli in Dedham.
Thanks, Joe.
And this is a tailgate party, so we're sticking with tailgate type foods. And Fred is a tailgate guru. He has season tickets, right, to all the Patriots games?
Yes.
Yeah, and you go to the Super Bowl?
Yes, I am.
Right, and there's a few of us that wouldn't mind being your guest if you decide this year to take us. But in any event, Fred, why don't you tell us what you're making, some tailgate dishes that you always prepare for your crew?
We're going to do a buffalo chicken dip.
Nice.
We're going to do pulled pork sandwiches. We brought some deli sandwiches too, Italian cold cuts. And that's about it.
Okay. So,
chicken wings too, sorry. We made chicken wings also.
Yeah, he would serving chicken wings. Now, because this show is designed to be instructional and hopefully we're encouraging people to do a lot more home cooking, I may point out a few tips as Fred starts talking and different techniques. And one thing I like that Fred does, you know, they're not fried chicken wings, they're baked.
We bake them in the oven, yeah.
Right. But the first thing we're going to show, Fred, right,
This is buffalo chicken dip.
Okay, which sounds like a great dish. Now, why don't we just tilt this so we can show the guest here tonight. Now, what do you do with this?
This is fresh, boneless, skinless chicken. Just take a couple pieces, boil it,
yeah,
and then break it all up, shred it.
Right, right. Now, on the boiling, just a little bit of a tip. I would recommend you braise it, which is a slower process of boiling. It's more of a simmering. And when you get into meats or poultry, you don't want to be tough. And the simmering process actually tenderizes. So you can keep that in mind. Now, when you boil or braise, whatever technique you want to use, do you put any seasoning in the water? Or?
No, not in the water. We're going to season it once it gets with all this stuff and it's going into the crock pot.
Okay. So one of the terms you'll hear on this show, every show, is the term mise en place. A French term, it means everything in its place. And in a professional kitchen, you live and die by your mise en place, so that you have all your ingredients. You're not at the last second, oh gee, I left this out, I left that out, because you want seamless cooking, so that the next person that comes in and orders a dish, you want the same consistency, flavors. So, on your mise en place, now just for the dip, I see you have a number of different things here. Is this just all for the...
No, it's for everything for tonight.
Okay.
For the dip, we're going to use the buffalo sauce, the cream cheese, and then the shredded mozzarella and the ranch.
Okay, excellent. So you can get your ranch in any supermarket, and obviously cream cheese.
Frank's Red Hot.
And Frank's Red Hot. Okay, good old Frank. I'm not big on the hots. I don't mind a little bit, but because I'm pure, I'm Irish descendant, I sweat and break out and just unbelievable. So, to taste. You know, if you look at a cookbook, you'll see some symbols on occasion that says TT. That means to taste. So, again, if you're like me, you like just a little, then bring it to the flavor, the temperature, spice temperature that you and your family and friends would enjoy. Some people
like a little more than others.
animals. They're animals. I mean, I don't know what else to say. But I know you, I can see in your face, you got a lot of Irish in you.
Right. I like it hot, though.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. So much for Zagami. Why don't we just do the process, okay? And one question I will ask you, when you put this together, is this something that's better prepared the night before so that all the flavors...
You could do it the night before, but the day of in the crock pot, you just need a little while.
Okay.
If you're cooking it fast, then you cook it in the oven.
Okay,
But
fine.
2 or 3 hours in the crock pot.
Okay, why don't we just do the mix, just as a demonstration.
This is an 8-ounce cream cheese.
Okay, and how much chicken do you have there?
I did just 3 chicken breasts,
3 chickens, so
Yeah, you can
probably pound and a half.
about a pound and a half.
Okay.
And you can put the cheese, 2 cups of cheese,
Yeah.
shredded mozzarella, cheddar,
Wow.
and then you only like a little hot, so we should just,
Yeah, whatever. Do what you're... Excellent.
and then we can mix it up. I would just use my hands.
Yeah,
but
you got
that's
gloves on.
okay.
Go ahead. You're better off using your hands.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
in this situation, you know, I don't know if the cream cheese is still cold.
That's
but
probably why.
If
It's
you
fine.
let it come to room temperature, it would be much easier to work with. But me personally, I would use my hands because this is the type dish that, you know, just takes a little bit more effort. There's nothing like your hands. Best tools.
Right.
Okay.
Get it all nice and smooth.
Oh, I can smell that heat just coming up.
It's only a half a cup.
I don't care.
It's not even that bad.
One thing I always talk about, you know, the use of garlic. I believe everything that goes to the main part of your dish is an ingredient. And I've had a lot of great Italian chefs on the show with us, and they go crazy throwing the garlic in. But again, from my perspective, it's an ingredient. Never let it dominate the dish, okay? Because you have 2 great cheeses in here, some nice chicken, you have that hot stuff, whatever you call it.
It's only half a cup.
Only a half a cup, and again, but you know, to taste. So, all right, so this is all blended. Then what's the next step?
Well, depending on what time, how long we need, we put it in the crock pot on high for an hour,
For an hour.
and then low for 2 hours. So 3 hours total.
Really?
Yep.
That's interesting because your chicken's all cooked, the cheese, and it just gives a time.
Beautiful flavor.
Beautiful flavor, brings everything together.
And we can open it up in
Excellent.
a few minutes and
Yeah. Actually, you know, maybe we can just put a little bit in a dish just to show
Sure.
people what we're going to, the finished product. So again, this is a tailgate party. So as I said, Fred is a major tailgater. And when you go to the tailgate, do you bring a crock pot?
oh yeah, we bring 2 or 3 of them.
You do. You do everything in a crock pot.
Pretty
I think
much,
you
yep.
told me.
Yep.
Wow. Now, how do you keep it hot? It's just residual heat?
Yeah, well, we have like a generator that keeps everything.
Of course you
plugged
do.
in.
Yeah. Of course. Do you have
When you come out
do you
of the
have-
game, you want everything to be hot.
Do you have bartenders, waitresses? I mean, what do you do? Wow.
The chips are.
I'll tell you, that
on the
actually
table.
does smell very, very good. All right, so that's your starter, all right? And that's what, and you serve this with what types of chips?
Well, yeah,
or
we just
bread?
use scoops, potato chips,
Wow,
Tostitos.
yeah. And if you have a 12-pack, by then you don't really care?
That's the way we don't care how hot it is, because
Ah.
after a couple you can't taste how hot it is.
Okay, great. So, Was he swinging at me then? I saw him. Okay. So what's next? We're gonna
Next,
do.
we're gonna do chicken wings.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get those out of the refrigerator. All right. All right. So let's talk about mise en place. You have your chicken wings. Okay.
Fresh chicken wings. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Now on the mise en place, what are the ingredients that are going to go into this marinade?
Just a little salt, pepper, garlic, Italian dressing, and some barbecue and teriyaki.
Wow. Okay. Now you marinate these
Usually I do them the night before.
the night before.
Let them sit in the fridge,
Right.
and then cook in the oven for 3 hours
Wow.
on low heat.
Yeah. That really amazed me for that long a time. I'd be running up to a Chinese restaurant waiting for these chicken wings. But
It's well worth it once you try them.
oh yeah, I'm sure they're delicious. Now, when you bake these, I'm sure they must be covered, right?
For the first 45 minutes or so, and then the next 2 hours uncovered,
Uncovered.
or until they're nice and
Right.
crispy.
So on a low oven, you're talking.
250 first, and then I crank it up a little towards the end.
Wow. And they fall off the bone.
All off the bone.
Okay. Why don't we just do the mix?
Yeah, just gonna put a little seasoning on them.
Yeah. And again, to taste.
To taste, not
Right.
too much. You don't need too much.
Right.
And a little teriyaki.
Yeah. Yeah. I like.
This is
you know.
Fanny's Italian dressing.
Right. I like teriyaki in some dishes that I make myself, but I always use the low sodium. And I'll tell you, my experience is it's a better palate so that when you're eating, you're not overwhelmed and it's just not as salty. So if you have a salt restriction, the low sodium is very good, I think. And I know some great Chinese chefs, and they use low sodium in their professional cooking. So this, you just cover it with the plastic wrap?
That's it. Foil.
Okay, and then refrigerate
Refrigerate it
overnight?
overnight, and then we get there early in the morning. We start cooking them.
Excellent. Okay, so when this product is finished, 3 hours, you figure?
2.5, 3 hours.
Two
I
and a
mean,
half.
depending.
Yeah. So you can always take one out or call me after 2 hours. I'll come over and taste. And then here is our finished product. Okay. They do look delicious, and they've got some nice caramelization on them.
Yeah.
Which is what I like, that extra little bit of a crunch, and the soy sauce and the other ingredients are bringing out, you know, some of the sugars, so you get that caramelization when you're baking. And these, for a party, actually, you can get a half sheet pan that will fit in a residential oven, and I'm sure you could get 5 or 6 pounds on there.
Oh, easily.
Yeah. And tonight,
I cook usually 10 at a time, 10 pounds.
10 pounds. And for tonight, to give the guests, how many pounds
I
did you?
brought 40 pounds.
There you go, folks. So this is a chicken wing kind of night. Yeah. So anyways, so there is your starters. You have
right over
your,
here.
yeah, okay. You have your dip. Then we have the chicken wings, and next is our pulled pork. Okay, I'm going to put this
In the
down
fridge.
here. Okay. Now this here again you do in a crock pot.
Crock pot.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
You can, I seasoned the night before. I even put it in the night before for a couple hours on low.
Really?
And then the next morning, about an hour or two before, is when I crank it up.
Okay. So.
At least 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
At
Now,
least.
this is a nice cut. It looks like a loin, but you use
This
butts.
is a 2 pound, yeah, pork butt.
Pork butt.
You
And
usually get anywhere from 8 to 10 pounds.
right. But what you can do is 8 to 10 pounds. You're not going to fit that in a crock pot, I wouldn't think.
Oh, it'll fit.
Oh, will it?
Oh, yeah.
Do you jam it in, or
It fits in.
so you must bone it out first, then?
No, boneless.
That's what I mean. It's the bone's taken out.
Oh, yeah, the bone's taken out of it.
Right.
Yeah, we buy
Oh,
it like that.
yeah.
Just
Oh.
like this.
Right. So, anyways, why don't we just show this? Okay. Now you don't take much of the fat off it, do you?
No,
I mean, these are
don't take any.
Yeah, because that really adds to the flavor. And if you're concerned about cholesterol, it's not like you're eating this 5, 6 nights a week. But that's my strategy. A lot of people just don't want any fats that they can avoid. But, you know, this is an occasional, unless you're a season ticket holder and you're having it every week.
It's mostly every week. Same guys, same crew.
Okay, so we're going to season this.
Yeah, it's very simple. Just a little salt, pepper, a little garlic.
Right.
And that's it.
okay.
We add the barbecue sauce a little later on.
Okay.
And we'll put that in first.
Excellent. And then that will just go, for the sake of demonstration, we have a backup crock pot, okay? Now, do you put any liquid in this?
A little bit of water. A little bit of water on the bottom.
Okay. And again, you know, we were talking about braising. This, you know, in a crock is a slow technique.
Slow cook.
So it's going to tenderize. Again, it's the same strategy or method as braising meats. You know, you ever go in and have a thing of beef stew and you get to the meat, everything tastes great, but the meat, you need to have bionic jaws to get through it. That's because you didn't allow the meat to simmer long enough to tenderize it. So you can get into inexpensive meats that way and, you know, reduce your meal cost. So this would go in your crock pot. Chef, I don't have gloves on if you want to put it in there. All right. Now, as Fred just told us, the night before.
Yeah, I started the night before.
And you put it on low for a couple of hours.
A couple hours, and in the morning when I get up, I crank it up a little bit, depending on how much time.
Right, okay. And then, give me an example. Start to finish, how long you're talking on in the crock pot?
Probably 5 hours.
5 hours. But what's nice about crock pots...
I mean, you can go longer, but
Yeah.
5 hours is plenty.
It's
Once it falls apart,
Right.
it's ready to go.
Now, on your barbecue, do you put any tomato in there
No,
or
just
ketchup?
just straight barbecue sauce.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. And so you're doing an 8 to 10 pound pork butt. How much water would you put in there?
Just a cup.
A cup.
Unless you see it starting to get real dry,
Right.
then you can add a little more.
Yeah.
But
and that's a great
the
tip.
juice from it keeps it going.
Right. You know, but that is a great tip. Check it. If you see it's getting dry, add some water, okay? Don't drown it. Just add enough to loosen it up again, because it'll continue cooking, and I'm sure, you know, there'll be a reduction in the sauce that'll ultimately
itself,
be made.
yes.
Right. Okay. So that's for your pulled pork. Now, what do you serve this on, Fred?
We do little finger roll sandwiches.
Oh, sweet. Oh, wow.
Keep
Yeah.
it simple, everything nice and easy.
Right, right. Boy, can of whatever,
Right.
sandwich, can. Is that kind of
Sandwich,
how
yes.
it goes? Okay, good. All right. It absolutely looks and smells delicious. And I guess the barbecue sauce is personal preference.
Yeah, you can put a little more. I've added a little here, but you
Right.
can put on as much as you want.
Yeah. You know, I like the way you decorated the plate. Yeah,
Presentation.
Oh, excellent. Very good. You know, I'm going to talk about Fred in just a minute, because he's been a great supporter of the Chef's Table Foundation. And these are nice, easy dishes you can make. The only time it's going to take is to cook. So, as you said...
Well, you're in the parking lot for 5 hours before the game starts, so
Really?
plenty of time.
5 hours?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, okay. So you do this every week?
Every home game, yeah.
So do you call this alcoholics alias? I mean, you just keep going back, there's no restriction?
No, just keep eating and drinking.
Good for you. Okay. Well,
We have one more sandwich.
we have one more that Fred recommends for his tailgate, and I don't know, you know, maybe if we mug him after the show, he has his playoff tickets with him, we can go. Okay, so another thing that Fred does for his tailgate, he does the sandwich, which is, again, this can be prepared well in
Yeah, we'll take
advance.
this off.
All right. And how many people join you at your tailgate?
The last one was 30, but this time usually during the season it's about 15, 20 people.
Wow.
I'm gonna get them both up.
Okay, I'm gonna take this off, all right, Fred, so we can see. Wow. You know, one thing I like about these long French breads, their shape is really uniform. They've got nice color. Oh, so you do the Italian.
Well, we did Italian cold cut and ham and cheese sandwiches.
Excellent.
And we just add, like I said, a little bit of lettuce, which I have down here.
Right, right.
A little bit of lettuce and tomato, a little bit of hot. You don't like it too hot, so
Right.
no hots for you.
So let me ask you a question. You prepare the food for 30 people.
Yeah, every game, yeah.
Okay. Do you charge them?
Yeah, they pay.
Oh, they do. I was just
Well,
thought.
they bring some people bring the beers, some people,
Oh, okay.
pay for parking. We kind of split it up.
I got you. So
it's not
if
all.
a few of us that are here after we eat your food, if we were interlopers, for instance, we showed up with no money.
Well, you have to have beer.
Oh,
That's
they
the
have to
trick.
bring beer.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay. Now, on your sandwich, you leave it dry and let people put their own
Yeah,
on?
we'll bring the stuff on the side.
Okay.
Mayo, mustard. I just brought lettuce and tomato, but they
Right.
can, whatever
Right.
their preference is. Hot peppers,
Yeah.
mustard,
Okay, good.
oil, garlic, whatever. Hot sauce.
Yeah.
After the game, that's
okay.
whatever's left goes on it.
Wow. Yeah, nobody knows anyways, right? No. Yeah. So do you do beer and
Usually the
whiskey
sandwiches are for after, but-
No, not sandwiches. Beer and whiskey shooters, or what do you do?
Sometimes there's a little fireball involved. but
Okay, good,
That's if it's
good.
cold out.
Yeah. So this is Fred's recommendation for a tailgate party. And it's a great fare for a championship game, really.
That's right.
And one thing I want to talk about is Fred Zagami is all for veterans. And I remember when Fred first took over Salem Deli, Carol and I were helping out the Dedham Rotary Club with their annual event. And I went in and he was getting beaten up by everybody for donations. But he did, and I promised him that we would have him on the show. And so we're grateful that he's here, and I fulfilled my promise. The only problem is this is the third time that I've had to fulfill this promise. And the first time, which everybody gets nervous, and I understand that, he called me, well, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? You sure I'm going to be all right? I don't want to look like I'm stupid or whatever. I said, don't worry, you have the master next to you. I'll coach you through it. So anyways, this went on for 2 weeks prior to the first show. After he did the first show, within 2 days, Fred called me back. Can I do another show? So we're grateful he's back. And Fred, we just invited Fred to become a board member for our foundation. And his food is very tasty, very good, and it's great quality. But the reason I called him was I had two people that aren't even socially connected say, why don't you get Fred Zagami? I said, Fred? I'm visualizing a guy in a three-piece suit, Oxford button-down shirt, rep tie, wingtips, and they said, oh, he knows everybody. He can raise money. I said, I think we should have Fred, and he did. But Fred was recently in the newspapers. He does something for veterans. The first
Tuesday of every month, we do free lunch for veterans.
For veterans, which is, for a small business, that's a big commitment. And I really commend Fred for
Thank you.
doing that. So what do we have to do? Just show our...
Yeah, I bring a military ID. Well, a lot of the guys that come either have their hats on or they've been in them before, but
Right.
just some sort of identification that says they were a vet or in
Right,
the military.
right.
Past or present, doesn't matter.
Yeah. And Fred, what did you do? What was your MOS?
Well, I first went in as a finance and accounting guy,
Right.
and then I became a cook like a month later because they found out I knew how to cook.
Cook, right, right.
So I had 2 MOSs.
Oh, good. Well, this is great, and again, we're very grateful that Fred, the food industry, as I said earlier in the show, they're very generous. And Fred donates the food. We have a very large audience here, and it didn't throw him. He's still willing to donate the food, and he hasn't told me this, but I can sense it, that he thinks he's going to bump me out Okay, so the more experience he gets. But we have Kelly Ransom, and I know you know
It'll
Kelly.
be Freddie and Kelly next.
Oh, Freddie and Kelly.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. All right, so I'll get rotten eggs and sit in the audience, but I would never do that to Kelly. So, in any event, this has been terrific. If you're having a tailgate party, you know, these are great ingredients.
Or just show up at ours.
There you go. Get down to Patriot Place and join in.
Find us, yeah.
How do we know? I mean, there's thousands of cars. Do we just look at the pyramid of beer cans?
We're in the same lot every time.
Yeah.
I'll have to tell you that another time.
Okay. But do you have a pyramid
We don't
of
want
beer
everybody
cans?
on TV knowing where our tailgate party is.
I don't blame you. Okay. So, again, this is great. Very intermediate, not even intermediate, very low level of skill. Maybe that's why Fred makes it, but I wasn't leaving that there.
I knew that was coming.
Hey. No, seriously, it's because you're using a crock pot, you're baking in the oven. It's not where you're standing over the food, cooking it, and
Everybody loves it.
And everybody loves it. And I noticed you have some pandiosi rolls there. Excellent. Yeah. Now, do you serve that as a slider or a regular size?
No, we serve as like a slider. Our
Right.
sub rolls, this is our sub roll. We make all the subs in there, but anything we do, like finger sandwiches or anything, come in those little rolls.
Rolls, which is nice. And they're always great and good and fresh.
Yeah, every day delivered fresh.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for watching the Chef's Table series, and we greatly appreciate Salem Market, Salem Deli.
Salem Food Market, yeah.
Food Market, okay. I'm glad you straightened me out on that.
Thank you.
And now you've been there, what, 5 years?
5 years, 5.5 now, yeah.
5.5 years. And if you're thinking of getting in the food business at any level, I just want you to know, you know, we become real foodies. The food culture has grown tremendously in this country in the last 20 years. You have to have a passion. This is hard work, long hours, but it's worth it if you love cooking. So, and we love being here and watching somebody else cook and eating their food. So on behalf of the Chef's Table Foundation, we want to thank you for viewing. And you can go to the website if you would like to rewatch the show and then maybe look at it on YouTube or Vimeo, and you can cook along with the chef, okay? Have all your mise en place, and then you can reproduce this yourself. And that's another thing that we don't talk about. I remember the day when you had to be home at 1 o'clock on Sunday for the family dinner. You had to be home at 6 o'clock for dinner during the week. And, you know, today it's soccer, baseball, whatever, hockey, and, you know, everybody's doing the to-go
On
thing.
the go. Yeah.
So we're encouraging you, the home chef, to start trying to cook 1 or 2 meals a week with your family. And I think it will really add to society and just make a nice, strong family unit. So again, thank you, and we hope to see you next week. Thank you.
Great job.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Craft Beer Pairing. Today, it's all about game day, and with me is certified cicerone Kelsey Roth. He is the brand manager of Craft Beer Cellar. So, Kelsey, what beer did you choose to go with Fred Zagami's? He made a bunch of stuff. He made buffalo chicken dip, he made baked chicken wings and pulled pork and that 2.5-foot sub. So much food.
I know. So pairing a beer with all those different things can be kind of tough. So I went with Notch Left of the Dial. And the main reason I did this is normally whenever I go to a football party, it's an all-day affair. So I'm looking for something that's a little bit lighter in alcohol, but still has good flavor to it. And this is an IPA from Notch, and Notch is a brewery out in Salem, Massachusetts.
Oh, okay, local,
And,
yep.
Yep, local guy. And he's really all about what we call session beers. And these are beers that are generally low in alcohol, but still have a lot of good flavor. There's, back in the old days, you'd go to a pub and, go for a session. So you'd be hanging out with your friends and chit-chatting.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's kind of where it got its name from. And this is a session IPA.
Okay.
So it's got a little bit of a hoppy note to it, but it's only 4.3% alcohol. When you consider Bud Light is only 4.2. This is right around the same alcohol level as a Bud Light.
Oh, okay.
So let's try it.
Yeah, let's try it.
And of course, cans. We love the cans.
Easier
Yep.
to open and share.
And it's recyclable, and it's actually it's better for the beer too.
Yes, because it's not hitting, light's not hitting it.
There's no light getting in there. There's less oxygen that gets in during the canning process, and it also cools down quicker.
That's a good point. It smells nice.
Yeah, you got a really nice citrus note to it.
You do, exactly, yep.
And but very light mouthfeel.
Very light.
It's got a nice little bitterness to it, and the bitterness is really going to work well with the dishes to kind of balance out the different flavors, and it's got a nice dry finish too, so that bitterness doesn't linger for a long time.
This is a nice, enjoyable beer. It would definitely go with all those, because when you're at a game day party, football game, you need something that's gonna go well with all these dishes that you're eating. You know what I mean?
And there's probably going to be chips there, and
yeah,
who knows
it's like a
what
tasting
else.
party, exactly. Kelsey, this is excellent. I'm going to have one more sip.
Yeah. I just love it, and it's got that nice little citrusy character as well.
Love
that
it.
Works.
Well, Kelsey, thank you. Great job.
All right, thank you.
So, everyone, this has been the craft beer pairing for Fred Zagami's Football Favorites Dishes, and I'm Carol O'Connor.
And I'm Kelsey Roth with Craft Beer Cellar, and we're a proud supporter of the Chef's Table Foundation.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the interview segment of the Chef's Table series. My name is Carol O'Connor. I am here with owners, husband and wife, Hector and Miriam Morales, and they own Recreo Coffee and Roastery. So I want to thank you two so much for coming to, to come on being part of our show. And I love the decor of your place.
Thank you.
It's so nice and warm.
Thank you for having us.
And it's such a welcome to have you in West Roxbury. And I grew up here, so I'm happy.
Well, we feel very happy to be here.
Good, excellent. So tell us about, I love coffee, everyone loves coffee, but tell us how you source your beans.
Okay. Well, our coffee here at Recreo, it's single sourced. It's sourced from my family's farm in Jinotega, Nicaragua. The farm has been owned by my family for almost 50 years. And it's 364 acres, the whole farm, but 190 are the plantation itself. We have another part of our farm that's a reservation that we take care of. Our farm is Arabica bean in the majority of our plants. And we bring the coffee straight from the farm into the United States ourselves. We import it ourselves, so we don't use the middlemen.
Yes.
And what we serve here at the cafe is only our coffee. So it's single source and single state, not only from one country, but one farm. And what's special to me is that my family grows it with a lot of love. And obviously through the years, they've been able to learn how to conserve a lot. We're sustainable, where we recycle a lot of what happens in the coffee process of the growing. We are 300 acres, but 1,200 meters high. And so that's a lot of a specialty quality for coffee. And
it's a beautiful place. The
I'm
first
sure.
time, oh yes, the first time I went there, I fell in love with the whole plantation. It's about 4 hours from Managua, which is the main capital. The temperature is usually between 60 and 78 degrees, which is ideal for coffee.
Okay.
And
that's good
the
to know.
farm, the farm it's in the coffee belt in Nicaragua. There are many other farms around, so it is perfect for growing all the beans. And there are several things that are very interesting about the farm. It's shade grown also, so usually for the perfect maturity of the coffee beans, they should get between 30 and 40% of the sunlight. That's why we grow also some other fruit trees like bananas and grapefruit, guava.
Too bad you couldn't bring those here.
Yes,
Eat them. Eat them and
exactly.
drink coffee.
Just to protect the coffee plant from direct sunlight. And we also only pick the red cherries. The fruit of the coffee plant, it's called a cherry, and we only do hand picking to get only the ones that are perfectly matured at the proper time. So that's very particular and very good
Exactly,
about
yeah.
the farm.
That's interesting. Now I want to go back to sourcing. So you said single source. Are there other places that do like two source or multi-source?
yeah, well, the majority of coffee businesses have sourced coffee from an importer
Okay.
who buys from different countries and even different farms. And so you might have like a Costa Rican coffee, but it might be different farms in that coffee.
Oh, I understand.
So our
Yes.
single source, when you come and you taste our coffee, it's something that's unique from the farm. So it's like our nuances of our coffee is chocolatey, almondy, nutty flavors. But what gives that flavor is how it's grown,
Right.
the soil, the plants around that gives it that shade. So you're tasting something special
Right.
because it comes from one country.
Exactly. And I just learned something. That's interesting.
And I think the other aspect is, that my family, before we started importing the coffee and bringing it and roasting here, my parents used to sell to an exporter. So the coffee would go, they didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
But now even for my father, who's been working really hard for 50 years, and for him to know that his coffee that he's growing in his farm, it now gets to somebody in a cup of coffee directly. So for him, it's a dream come true. So that's really special to my heart
Right.
because I'm able to now not only bring a very good coffee to West Roxbury, but bring something that is a proud product of my parents.
Exactly. Straight here. Like that's
Exactly,
phenomenal. You know what I
yes.
mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's family in our community. And I love coming here. I love to taste the coffee.
you.
I'm not adventurous yet, but I think after we speak more about roasting, maybe I'll jump to the medium and bold roast that you said a lot of people like. So that's what I'm looking forward to, definitely. So I want to thank both of you for being on our first segment today. And everyone, this is our coffee segment. I'm here with Miriam and Hector Morales. They own Recreo in West Roxbury. And we'll see you next time for our coffee tip.
Thank you.
Hello everyone and welcome to this week's tip, Farm to Table Tip. I'm here with Steve Verrill of Verrill Farm. I'm Carol O'Connor, co-host of the Chef's Table series. So Steve, what are we looking at here with all the hay? What's underneath it?
Well, we mulched all these beds of garlic we just planted.
The garlic is underneath the hay?
It's under the hay.
Oh,
And
interesting.
we do the same thing with strawberries for somewhat different reasons, but
Okay.
the straw serves as protection for both crops.
Oh,
In the case of garlic, you take a whole head of garlic
Yep.
and break up and you plant each clove separately, and that's another biennial crop.
Okay.
And the idea, you plant it in the fall, and it's good if it gets some root growth. But if it gets much top growth, it'll think next spring is its second season. We don't want it to think that. We
Right.
want it to think we just been helping it wake up and it can really take off in the spring. So the purpose of the straw here is to keep the soil cool on a sunny day in the fall. Here, this is 10th of November, and we planted this about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the tricky things, because I've grown it a few times before without mulch, and when these seasons change so much, sometimes October can be very warm and
Right.
sometimes very cool. And if it gets too much growth, well, you're in trouble. But let's see if we can see what it's doing here now, if I can find some. Might or might not right away. There we go. No, you didn't.
We're searching for the garlic underneath the straw.
Yeah, oh, there it is.
Oh,
It was down a little deeper than I thought.
yep.
And you can see in 2 weeks, maybe you can see, it's got some nice roots coming out, and there's no, the top growth is just a tiny sprout, nothing really. And I think we're going to be in good shape here, because we have the mulch on to keep the surface cool,
Right.
and it's rooting very nicely now.
Oh,
So that's
good.
just exactly what we want.
Now, when will these be picked?
Oh, this will be picked mid to late summer next year. So it
Wow.
has to grow, and
They got a long way to go.
yeah, each clove will kind of disintegrate and
Yes.
start a whole new bulb with 10 or 12 cloves
Oh.
on it. And that's how it works.
Oh, I love it. Garlic is so good.
Yeah.
It's really good for you. I mean, yeah, it's heavy on the breath, but it's very tasty though.
Here we get it back
Oh,
in there again.
yeah,
Make it all
cover it all
happy.
up. Oh, Steve, thank you. So everyone, this has been the Farm to Table tip on garlic. I'm Carol O'Connor, co-host of the Chef's Table series, and with Steve Verrill of Verrill Farm. So we'll see you next week.
Hi folks, Steve LeCount, chef owner of Chiara Bistro in Westwood, coming at you with this week's Chef's Tip of the Week. This week I want to talk a little bit about sectioning, getting nice clean sections of citrus fruit from whole oranges and grapefruits and things like that. I have a lot of people that say, gee, you have the most beautiful salads with those nice sections of grapefruit, but I always have a tough time doing that at home. So an important factor here is to have a very sharp knife. And this one, I also have a flexible blade on there, which is, you can buy thin boning knives, and that's very helpful. So to stabilize the orange, cut the top and the bottom, or the bottom and the top. I don't really know which one's which on the orange, but and we'll make a nice flat surface for starters. And same thing with the grapefruit. And then I want to look inside that orange. That part is called the pith, P-I-T-H, and we want to skin that. That part is the most bitter part of the orange. The most citrusy flavor you'll get out is from the zest. If you microplane it and throw it into asparagus or something like that, you'll get. That's where all the natural oils are in the orange. But it's important to get rid of this white pith because there's no good flavor there. It's just bitter. Why I use the flexible knife, though, and I'm going to try to angle this to show you, is I see people, especially young cooks, they come in the kitchen, they start, and they go down, and you end up with a square side to that. Well, an orange is naturally round, and as a chef, you want to maintain the integrity of the natural look of the fruit. So I want to emphasize that my motion is a curved motion along here. I'm just following that pith as a guideline. I'm kind of starting at the back side of the knife, and as I pull toward myself, I'm
going forward with that, or drawing it toward me, I should say. Okay, and that way I've kept that nice round edge to it. And then the next step to get the nice segments, you'll see in there the membrane. And all you really need to do is cut in between those layers of membrane. If you want, you can kind of loop it up like that, or just make a V cut. But either way, you're going to end up with these beautiful orange sections. And I'll show you quickly with the grapefruit as well. Grapefruit's actually a little bit easier because it's a much larger citrus fruit. So again, I'm curving that knife as if I'm just doing this with my hand. The knife is just an extension of my hand. And I know you're thinking, yes, easy for you to say. But it's actually with a little bit of practice, and that's all it takes for this is a little bit of practice. Anybody can do this. So I'm going to just cut those V's, and then I'm cutting across just to kind of disconnect it. Or if I'm in a hurry, I'm just going to go down and up with the tip. And this membrane is actually keeping my knife from penetrating into the next section. And I'm getting these gorgeous, as the French call them, supremes of orange and ruby grapefruit here. So again, Steve LeCount from Chiara Bistro in Westwood with this week's Chef's Tip of the Week.
Due to popular demand, we are going to re-air one of our most popular Chef's Tips of the Week segments.
Hi folks, Steve LeCount, chef owner of Chiara Bistro in Westwood, coming at you this week with this week's Chef's Tip of the Week. This week I wanted to talk about a piece of equipment that I find totally invaluable at the restaurant. For relatively short money, you can buy one of these. They come in smaller sizes as well for the home use, but it's called a food mill. And the reason we love it so much is we have a signature dish that's a potato gnocchi on there. And these food mills come usually with a set of 3 different dies. This is the largest one. And then there's a little spring-loaded blade here. So when you put that die in, you want that curved side facing up, and then you just place the blade into the hole in the center, and this is why the spring is there. You push down on this and hook it onto these little hooks, and from there it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. What I love about this is, again, we make our potato gnocchi with them. This is what we pass our potatoes through, but there are many, many uses for this. You can do it for butternut squash, cooked pumpkin, anything carrots, whatever you like to make a puree out of. You could put a finer die in there with smaller holes if you want that puree to be totally smooth. But today I'm going to show you mashed potatoes because people often ask, how do you get those potatoes so smooth? Mine always have lumps in them. And I've got some cooked right behind me. And when we make mashed potatoes, we like to use Idaho potatoes because they naturally have a less of a water content. And you see my potatoes have no water in here right now. I did boil these, but I also, after I drain them, I put them back in the pot, put the burner on low, and let most of the water evaporate out of those, which is kind of important to getting nice, fluffy, smooth potatoes. So I'm going to scoop those into this food mill. And this food mill comes with a little hook here. And you just hook that onto the pot like that. And from there you just grab this handle and you just crank the handle, and it passes. It basically mills the food through the holes in the die. And it's really that easy. Now behind me I've also heated up a little bit of light cream and whole butter that I've put into the light cream. And just scrape the excess off there. Okay, so that's what it comes out looking like. Not a lump in this. So I'm going to season those a little bit, salt and pepper. My butter is already in the cream. I'm just going to add a little as I need it. And then just all I have to do from there is stir. Now today we all have food processors. It's one of the worst things you can ever try to make mashed potatoes with, and I'll tell you why. Potatoes have natural gluten in them. It's just like flour. If you overwork it, that gluten It ends up, the gluten is just what forms like elasticity in bread doughs, and potatoes have quite a bit of natural gluten in there. So the more you move the potatoes around, the more of that gluten you're activating, and you're going to end up with a gummy, stretchy kind of potato. So if you ever try to do it in a food processor for mashed potatoes, I guarantee you they're going to come out like glue. Where these are nice and fluffy, they haven't got a lump in them, smooth as silk. And I'm going to go eat these right now. So, Steve LeCount from Chiara Bistro in Westwood with this week's Chef's Tip of the Week. Thanks.
We'd like to thank the Sons of Italy Lodge in Roslindale for hosting our studio in our show. And we're very grateful to the Sons of Italy Lodge because we're trying to put as much money into scholarship as possible. So again, thank you to the Sons of Italy Lodge in Roslindale. So,
Ready? No.
Okay, fine.
2 or 3 hours in the crock pot.
Okay, why don't we just do the mix, just as a demonstration?
This is an 8-ounce cream cheese.
Okay, and how much chicken do you have there?
I did just 3 chicken breasts.
3 chicken, so
you
probably
can use
a pound and a half.
About a pound and a half.
Okay.
And we put the cheese, 2 cups of cheese,
Yeah.
shredded mozzarella, cheddar,
Wow.
and then you want to like a little hot, so let's just,
Yeah, whatever. Do what you... Excellent.
and then we can mix it up. I'll just use my hands.
Yeah, you get gloves on. Go ahead.
4.2. This is right around the same alcohol level as a Bud Light.
Oh, okay.
So let's try it.
Yeah,
here.
let's try it.
And of course, cans. We love the cans.
Easier
Yeah.
to open and share.
And it's recyclable, and it's
Oh, that's
actually
right, yeah.
it's better for the beer too.
Yes, because it's not hitting, light's not hitting it.
There's no light getting
Those
it.
in the metal low. And obviously through the years, they've been able to learn how to conserve a lot. We're sustainable. We recycle a